The shuttle jolted as it breached the artificial gravity bubble of the Ketheri Interstellar Military Academy, orbiting Zinther 9's icy moon. The hull groaned like it resented carrying humans. Jace Carter gripped the armrest, jaw tight, as the view shifted from black space to a floating cathedral of steel, obsidian towers connected by shimmering force bridges. Elegant. Cold. Very alien. Across from him, Cadet Myra Kwan sat upright, eyes scanning a datapad. Beside her, Reed, their third Earth cadet, bounced his leg nervously. The silence between them was the kind born from a shared truth: they weren't welcome here. A synthesized voice buzzed through the intercom. Docking complete. All cadets report to Orientation Hall. Carry identification. Compliance is mandatory. Jace exhaled. Guess it's showtime. The Orientation Hall felt like a courtroom. Walls were etched with moving glyphs that shimmered in hues the human eye barely processed. Rows of alien cadets, dozens of species, horns, scales, fur, or sleek exosuits, stood at attention. Only 3 humans broke the symmetry. At the dais stood a towering figure clad in bone-white armor. Forearms clasped behind his back, obsidian skin rippling over muscle. His head was narrow, eyes glowing a sickly blue. "I am Instructor Threx Salkar," he announced, voice smooth and sharp like a scalpel. "You are here because your species was deemed worthy of assessment. Understand this: sentimentality, improvisation, emotion, these are weaknesses. We train with purpose. Precision. Control." He scanned the room, eyes locking onto Jace with clinical disdain. Those unable to adapt will be recycled into roles more fitting of their limitations. Jace whispered to Myra without moving his lips. "That's a nice way to say die screaming." Threx's gaze narrowed. The cadets were sorted into squads. Jace was paired with Vetra, a tall, insectoid Irani with multifaceted eyes and a quiet demeanor, and Karash, a bulky Brigarian with rhino-like armor and no visible neck. "Humans," Karash growled as they walked to their assigned quarters. "You smell of fear and soil." Jace grinned. "Thanks. I bottle it and sell it back home." Vetra tilted her head, chittering softly. "He's making a joke, Brigarian. That's how they camouflage discomfort. A primitive but effective tactic." Karash snorted. "Unfunny camouflage dies fast." That night, Jason lay on his bunk staring at the ceiling. The academy hummed around him like a machine with no off switch. No wind. No night sounds. Just that sterile silence. The kind of place where even a whisper would feel like a rebellion. He missed Earth's chaos. The noise. The smell of rain on concrete. His sister's laugh. His smile faded. At 0500, alarms blared. First simulation, urban extraction drill, live combat parameters engaged. They were dumped into a mock city carved into the asteroid's surface, weather-controlled, populated with hostile droids and adaptive AI. The objective: rescue a VIP and extract without losing a team member. Vetra offered strategy. Standard perimeter sweep. I'll scout rooftops. Karash takes point. You flank left, force the AI into my line of sight. Jace shook his head. They'll expect that. These things learn fast. Give me the rooftops. Karash grunted. You think fast feet make you lead? No, Jace replied. But I've got the gut instinct they can't predict. That's what scares them. Vetra hesitated. Very well. We adapt. The simulation began. Bullets weren't real, but the bruises and broken ribs would be. Jason leapt between ledges, dodging suppressive fire. He moved like chaos wrapped in armor, unpredictable and wild. He threw a pulse grenade behind a fake kiosk, drawing out 4 droids. Below, Vetra picked them off in silence. Karash bulldozed through a barricade, taking heavy fire. Jason dropped into the chaos behind enemy lines, clearing a path with calculated madness. He wasn't just improvising, he was leading the AI into traps it couldn't understand. They extracted the VIP within 16 minutes, 10 faster than the projected average. As they returned, the other squads stared. Some with confusion. Others with offense. Threx stood at the debriefing screen, hands clasped. Squad 9. Results, pass. Human Carter, disregarded standard protocol. Risked teammate safety. Broke formation. Jason stepped forward. And completed the mission more efficiently than any other unit. Threx's mandibles twitched. Efficiency is not our metric. Discipline is. Jason leaned in just slightly. You want obedience. I bring results. The room tensed. Cadet Carter, Threx said coldly, perhaps we should correct your misconceptions with a solo evaluation. Jason smiled, the kind that made enemies nervous. Bring it. But next time, tell your robots to aim better. Back in the squad barracks, Karash dropped a protein bar on Jason's bunk. You fight like a malfunctioning turret. But you didn't get us killed. Appreciation noted, Jason said. That's practically a hug where I come from. Vetra was more direct. You upset the instructor. That was reckless. Jason nodded. Exactly. He wanted me to fit in a box. I lit the box on fire. She stared. That fire could consume you. He lay back, hands behind his head. Maybe. But it'll keep them warm long after I'm gone. He didn't see Threx watching from the surveillance chamber, eyes locked on the human who refused to play by their rules. Let him burn, the instructor muttered. We'll see how bright his ashes glow. The academy's corridors pulsed with sterile light. The walls whispered, a soft hum of power cycling through alien architecture too advanced for human engineers to fully grasp. Every turn felt like a reminder, you don't belong here. Jason jogged down the hallway, sweat still drying on his skin from the zero-G endurance trial. He was exhausted, but something gnawed at him, a sensation that went beyond fatigue. Not paranoia. Instinct. Something was wrong. He rounded the corner toward the med bay, and froze. A stretcher was being rushed past him. Myra lay on it, unconscious. Her visor was cracked, chest armor scorched. What the hell happened? Jason barked. A robotic attendant didn't even slow down. Suit failure during live drill. Cause unknown. Vital signs stable. Injuries non-lethal. Jason turned to Vetra, who stood nearby, unusually still. You were in her squad today. Vetra's voice was clipped. The simulation launched before diagnostics could complete. Her oxygen levels collapsed mid-run. She almost suffocated before extraction. He didn't blink. That's not a glitch. That's sabotage. Vetra's compound eyes flicked away. You must tread carefully. Some shadows here answer no one. Later, in the barracks, Jason sat cross-legged with a maintenance drone cradled in his lap. It twitched as he spliced wires with a stolen toolkit. Karash growled from his bunk. Tinker longer and that thing will eat your fingers. Jason didn't look up. This thing is my new best friend. Name's Chip. Modified surveillance unit. Pulled from the recycling bay. Untrustworthy tech, Karash muttered. Better than untrustworthy instructors, Jason replied, tightening the last screw. Chip beeped, powered up, and blinked a green light. Jason grinned. Now, let's go digging. In the dead of night, Jason and Chip slipped through service tunnels, silent beneath the Academy's waking systems. Chip projected stolen credentials onto lockpads, granting them access to corridors meant only for staff. They reached the system's access chamber, a dim room lined with shimmering crystalline consoles. Jason scanned for instructor logs, bypassing firewalls with Chip's encrypted override. Rows of data flooded the display. Cadet diagnostics. Simulation parameters. Command overrides. Then he found it. File, H Protocol Z. Initiator, Instructor Threx Salkar. Directive: ensure human cadet failure through environmental amplification and equipment degradation. Authorized under Concord Clause 9A. Jason stared. He's trying to get us killed. Chip beeped quietly. By dawn, the fatigue hung on him like a second uniform. But Jason moved like nothing had happened. He had to. He needed more than proof, he needed a play. As expected, Threx had plans. Jason's name appeared alone on the day's assignment board. Survival trial, Sector Theta. Solo deployment. 72 hours. Limited resources. Vetra approached. You've angered him deeply. Jason shrugged. Just returning the favor. You may not return at all. I've been told worse. She hesitated, then slipped a small device into his palm. Biosensor tracker. Not Academy approved. If your vitals flatline, I'll know where to find your body. Jason smirked. That's the nicest thing anyone's said to me all week. Sector Theta was hell sculpted by alien imagination. The terrain was a nightmare blend, marshes that boiled, cliffs that crumbled at a whisper, trees with venomous spores. The rules were simple: survive, evade drones, and reach the beacon extraction point. Jason touched down, alone, armed with a plasma blade, ration pack, and a half-charged shield unit. He set up camp beneath a rock overhang, carving lines into the stone. Not to count days, but moves. Traps. Routes. Patterns. By day 2, he was running on instinct. He led a patrol drone into quicksand. He tricked a predator beast into attacking a scout unit by coating himself with artificial scent. He scavenged power cells from broken drones, rewiring them into a makeshift thermal blanket. But by the third night, he was bleeding. A shoulder gash from a drone ambush. His rations were gone. The marsh water stung his throat like acid. He collapsed beneath a jagged tree, breath shallow. Then he saw the red glint, a sensor drone, barely visible, watching from the trees. Jason's laugh was hoarse. You want to see what a primitive does under pressure? He yanked a shard of his broken visor, wrapped it with filament, and aimed it at the drone, reflecting its own laser feed. It scrambled, caught in a feedback loop, and exploded midair. Jason whispered into the trees. You're watching, Threx. Good. Watch this. By hour 68, Jason crawled through the final canyon. Armor torn. Skin burned. Every breath scraped like fire. The extraction beacon flickered ahead, blue, pure, and close. He staggered toward it. Threx stood beside it. Cadet Carter. You've survived. Unexpected. Jason didn't stop. Didn't realize you were here to congratulate me. Threx's eyes narrowed. Your species burns bright. But like all fires, you consume yourselves. Jason stared him down. Yeah, but we take the bastards with us. He stepped into the beacon's light. The transport flare activated, enveloping him in cascading blue. As he vanished, Jason held Threx's gaze. You started this. I'll end it. Back at the academy, Vetra met him at the platform. He looked like a corpse that hadn't decided if it should lie down. She said nothing. Just handed him water. Jason sipped, then muttered, Got everything I need. You found proof? Oh, I found more than proof. I found weakness. He tapped his head. He thinks emotion makes us fragile. But out there? My rage kept me alive. Vetra's gaze darkened. And what will you do with that rage? Jason didn't smile. Burn the system down, with his lies still screaming in the fire. Jason stood before the council chamber, bloodied armor sealed tight over cracked ribs. A bandage ran from jaw to clavicle where an acidic thorn had grazed him during his survival trial. He didn't flinch. He didn't ask for permission to speak. The chamber walls shimmered, alive with judgment. 7 alien counselors observed from elevated thrones, each representing a dominant species of the galactic Concord. Their expressions ranged from disgust to mild curiosity. Only the Zethary elder, cloaked in starlight silk, met Jason's eyes without malice. "State your accusation," she intoned. Jason tapped the projection pad on his wrist. Chip's stolen data flooded the center holofield. Instructor Threx's orders appeared, directive to obstruct human cadets. Manipulate conditions. Initiate failure by force if required. Gasps. A low snarl from a Freelian judge. The Drakari representative clicked his teeth in rhythmic disapproval. Jason's voice was flat. "This isn't negligence. It's war in disguise. You invited us here for show. Threx tried to erase us before we could speak." The chamber buzzed with tension. Counselor Threx stood below them, arms folded behind his back. Unflinching. Unapologetic. "I executed preventative measures," Threx said, "against an unstable species. Earth's record is chaos. Emotion-driven. Prone to conflict." Jason stepped forward, eyes burning. "You confuse passion with recklessness. You think logic alone wins battles? Go ahead, strip me of rank, ban Earth, call us feral. But you saw my survival trial stats. You watched me beat your war machines using grit and instinct. If you fear emotion, it's because you've never had to feel your way out of death." No one moved. Then, alarms shattered the silence. External perimeter breached. Unauthorized fleet signatures inbound. The room turned red. Jason and Threx were in the hallway before the sirens finished cycling. Officers ran past, shouting over comms. Vetra intercepted them mid-stride. Shalzari raiders. 3 warships. Academy shields already breached. Threx hissed, activating a blade from his gauntlet. "Impossible. No one's penetrated this system in over a century." Jason drew his plasma knife. Maybe they heard the Academy was too busy trying to kill its own students. They sprinted toward the barracks. Explosions shook the floor. Smoke poured through the eastern hallways. Jason's squad, Karash and 2 other cadets, were pinned under rubble, droids firing down from a collapsed support corridor. Jason dove forward without thinking. A plasma burst narrowly missed his thigh. He slid beside Karash and fired 2 shots into the ceiling, drawing debris onto the droid unit. One crushed. One disabled. The last one Jason tackled by hand, wrenching its core free and jamming it into a wall socket. The hallway dimmed. The lights flickered out. "You're insane," Karash rasped, spitting blood. Jason helped him up. "And you're still breathing. You're welcome." Across the campus, the remaining cadets formed ragged squads. No central command. No orders. Panic spread faster than the Shalzari assault. Jason climbed a broken scaffold near the simulation dome. He activated his comms on all open channels. "All cadets. Listen. Chain of command is offline. You want to live, follow me. We'll regroup at the central hangar and push them back out the way they came." A dozen voices crackled back, different dialects, different species, but all with the same intent. "Understood. Copy. Lead the way, human." They met heavy resistance at the eastern junction. Shalzari infantry dropped from their cruisers, slender, insectal warriors armed with sonic blades and nerve disruptors. Jason led the charge anyway. Not because it made sense. Because hesitation kills. He ducked under the first blade, slammed his shoulder into the attacker, and plunged his knife into exposed thorax tissue. One down. Beside him, a Traylon cadet fired pulses in clean bursts. Another Irani lobbed incendiary capsules. Jason shouted orders without pausing. "Left flank, suppressing fire. Karash, barrel roll through that opening and take out the heavy." Karash grinned, blood dripping from his horns. "Now you give good orders." They reached the hangar, breathless and soaked in smoke and sweat. The blast doors were half sealed. Beyond them, a Shalzari boarding craft, loading energy for a second breach. Jason turned to the 20 alien cadets around him. Some trembling. Some bloodied. They think we're kids. Untrained. Disposable. Let's prove them wrong. He activated the manual override, braced his rifle, and yelled. For every cadet who didn't make it, burn them down. The door opened, and chaos erupted. The fight lasted 6 minutes. The Shalzari didn't expect a unified defense. Especially not one led by a human shouting orders in broken alien dialects while dodging disruptor fire and hurling makeshift explosives. They fell. One by one. The raiders retreated, dragging the wounded. Their boarding craft smoked as it launched in reverse. The hangar shook with the aftershock, but remained intact. Jason dropped to one knee. His ribs felt shattered. Blood dripped into his left eye. But he stood up again. Later, the council reconvened in a temporary chamber amid debris. Jason stood before them, battered, sleeveless, with burns across his collarbone. He didn't care about formality. Only the Zethari elder spoke. You defied orders. You exposed a superior. And today, you saved this station. Jason nodded. Because it was the right thing to do. Silence followed. Then she said it. We trained you to obey. You taught us to adapt. Jason raised one brow. You haven't even met Earth's women yet. A laugh, actual laughter, from the Freelian judge. Threx stood in the corner, silent, restrained, awaiting disciplinary action. Jason looked at him one last time. You tried to erase us. Instead, you proved we're necessary. He walked out, limping, his team flanking him, Vetra on one side, Karash on the other. Outside, beneath the Academy's reconstructed tower, a plaque was being installed. Cadet Jason Carter, the first to bleed fire. He didn't wait to see it. Too many missions ahead. Too many eyes now watching Earth.